Just before we begin our meeting tonight, we have an official proclamation acknowledging the Juneteenth holiday. Whereas the Emancipation Proclamation delivered by President Abraham Lincoln on September 22nd, 1862, declared that all slaves in states in rebellion shall on January 1st, 1863 be forever free. And whereas on June 19, 1865, Union soldiers landed at Galveston, Texas to enforce President Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation and declare freedom for all slaves. Each year thereafter, former Texas slaves and their descendants joined in a celebration of freedom on June 19th, and the day became known as Juneteenth. And whereas across our nation, Americans continue to celebrate Juneteenth, a day to reflect on the sufferings of slavery and to remember the joyful declaration of freedom. And whereas in Muskogee, this day of celebration commemorates the heritage of our thriving African American population. As we honor the courage and fortitude of our ancestors, we renew our commitment to combat injustice with the triumphant spirit of freedom. And now, therefore, I, Mayor of the City of Muskogee, Oklahoma, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Charter and ordinances of the City of Muskogee, Oklahoma, do hereby proclaim June 19th to be Juneteenth Day of celebration, to be observed June 20th, 2022 in Muskogee. And I encourage all citizens to join Muskogee's African American community in celebrating this extremely important historical event. Join me in celebrating the Juneteenth Day Proclamation. We read it as June 20th because that is the day of the holiday being acknowledged, but Juneteenth is actually on June 19th. Let us stand at this time for the invocation and the flag salute. Lord, as we come before you on this night, Father, we ask for your guidance and for your direction. Father, that you will lead us in a way that is pleasing to your sight. For, Lord, what we say or do is not for ourselves. It should be for our respective constituents throughout our city. Father, give us the wisdom and guidance thereto. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Let us look to the flag. Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Jamie Stout.
Here.
Alex Reynolds.
Here.
Stephanie Jones.
Here.
Tracy McGee.
Here.
Tracy Hoos.
Here.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Here.
Thank you. Item number 1.
Consider approval of MMA minutes of May 9th, 2022, or take other necessary action.
We have the minutes before us tonight for the May 9th, 2022 MMA meeting. Do we have any corrections to the minutes or a motion to approve?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the minutes for May 9th, 2022. Do we have any other discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hoos.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, the item passes. Item number 2.
Consider approval of MMA claims for the month ending May 31, 2022, or take other necessary action.
Ms. Sweezy.
Yes, these are the standard claims for the month of May, and staff recommends approval.
Do we have any questions or discussion for Ms. Sweezy concerning the claims?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the claims. Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hoos.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, the item passes. Item number 3.
Consider approval of resolution number 2906, adopting the Muskogee Municipal Authority budget for fiscal year 2022-2023, establishing budget amendment authority, or take other necessary action.
Ms. Sweezy.
Yes, good evening, Chair and members of the authority. This is the budget as discussed during the public hearing and all the prior budget meetings and the retreat. Say, just a recap, 17.1 operating budget for MMA, and it's a 20.4 million approximate capital budget. I'm happy to answer any questions, as well as Mike Stewart or Dennis, and staff recommends approval.
Do we have any questions for Ms. Sweezy concerning item number 3?
Move for approval. Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery,
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee,
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes. That will conclude that meeting. Call to order. The special call agenda meeting for the Muskogee Parking Authority for June 13th, 2022. Roll call.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Jamie Stout.
Here.
Alex Reynolds.
Here.
Stephanie Jones.
Here.
Tracy McGee.
Here.
Tracy Hous.
Here.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Here.
Thank you. Item number 1.
Consider approval of Muskogee Parking Authority minutes of June 14th, 2021, or take other necessary action.
We have the minutes for the June 14th, 2021 Parking Authority meeting. Do we have any corrections to the minute or a motion to approve?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second concerning the June 14th, 2021 minutes. Further discussion. Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, the item passes. Item number 2.
Consider approval of resolution number 2907, adopting the Muskogee Parking Authority budget for fiscal year 2022-2023, establishing budget amendment authority, or take other necessary action.
Ms. Sweezy.
Yes, this is the budget for the MPA, one of our smaller budgets. It's about $72,000. It's just to budget for the revenues and expenditures over the city parking lots that are leased around town. Staff is here to answer any questions. We have about $40,000 budgeted for any expenses we may need and about $72,000 for revenues projected. And staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Ms. Sweezy. Do we have any questions concerning item number 2?
Move for approval. Second it.
We have a motion and a second on item number 2. Further discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Excuse me, Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, the item passes. That will conclude that meeting. Order the meeting of the Muskogee City Council for June 13th, 2022. Roll call.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Jamie Stout.
Here.
Alex Reynolds. Stephanie Jones.
Here.
Tracy McGee.
Here.
Tracy Hous.
Here.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Here.
Thank you. We will now consider approval of the minutes for the special call city council meeting for May 11th, 2022, and regular city council May 23rd, 2022, or take other necessary action. Do we have any corrections to the minutes or a motion to approve?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on those 2-minute items. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes. Minutes passed as approved. Approved as passed, rather. We will now consider the consent agenda, which consists of items number 1 through 9. Are there any items on the consent agenda that need to be moved to the regular agenda, or do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move for approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes. Item number 10.
Consider approval to accept the fiscal year 2019-2020 audit performed by Arledge and Associates, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Reed.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I have Mr. Kinsey Duarte with Arledge and Associates here to present that audit. He's here to answer any questions that you all might have for him. And I
Thank
also
you.
have a physical copy of the audit if anybody needs to look at it right now.
Thank you. Council, would you like a copy of the physical audit at this time?
I've got one.
Mr. Arledge.
Good evening, Mayor, and good evening, Council. I want to thank you for the opportunity to present the results of the financial statements. We have unmodified opinions both for the financial statements and the single audit. And what that means is that we, based on our audits and our reports, the financial statements present fairly in all material respects. as of June 30, 2020. As far as material weaknesses and significant deficiencies, a material weakness is a deficiency or a combination of deficiencies such that there is reasonable possibility that a material misstatement of the entity will not prevent or detect or correct on a timely basis. A significant deficiency, it's a deficiency or combination of deficiencies that is less severe than a material weakness, yet it's important enough to bring up to the attention of those in charge. And for the year, fiscal year ending June 30, 2020, we did reported 3 material weaknesses. The 2020-001 relates to the financial statements. 2020-02 and 03 relates to the compliance and single audit. And we'll go a little bit more in details on those in a minute. As far as the audit, we encountered no significant difficulties in dealing with management in performing or completing our audit. And there were no disagreements that arose during the course of the audit that could be significant to the financial statements for the audit report. And I wanted to point you to the single audit page, if I can get to it. Page 96. It is a summary of the financial statements in the single audit. As you can see, we had a modifier for the single audit and the financial statements. We had a material weakness for the financial statements. That one is the 2020-001. And for the federal awards of compliance and federal awards, the 2020-002 and 03. As far as the federal award programs that were tested, we tested the capitalization grants for Clean Water State Revolving Fund. What we distinguish as a threshold to test them that were over $750,000 of expenditures for that program in order to consider it a major program. As far as the findings, so findings 2020-001, it is related to the timely manner of completing and overseeing the internal controls. And we do have a few of those that we were able to see during the audit and our reporting on the financials. As far as the 2020-02 and 03, they're more of timely, right? So the financial statements, they have a threshold of 180 days to be reported to the state of Oklahoma, and the single audit 30 days after the financial statements are being issued, or 90 days after the year end. And so those two, believe they were same as last year. You'll be able to see those findings on the last page of the single audit report. Includes the 002 and 03 as well. We believe that will be getting resolved. We did include it, reported on management, what they reported, the conclusion and the corrective action plan. We do believe that with management moving forward now and trying to catch up right with the years that will be resolved in the future years. And so I want to thank you for the opportunity and ask if you have any questions that you would like me to answer.
Do we have any questions, or what is the pleasure of the council?
I have a question, sir.
Sure.
Why did it take so long to complete the 2020 audit, being that it's 2022? What's the holdup? Can you just say it in plain term?
We work with the information that we receive. And so at the time we didn't receive the information that we received, we were trying to move as quick as possible, but if we don't get the information timely, then we won't be able to move as quick as possible. And so I know they're working with Crawford and Associates, I believe, in order to move forward and try to catch up.
Okay, so you're saying that we're not getting the information to you guys in a timely manner?
Correct.
Okay. So when you go to 2020-01, 2, and 3, are these the three areas that you're saying that wasn't really in a timely manner?
O2 and O3, correct.
O2 and O3.
O1 is more of the review of the internal controls.
Okay.
O2 and O3 are more of the timely submission of the financial statement reports and the single audit reports to the clearinghouse.
Okay. Was there anything else that you needed to bring to our attention that we can do better?
I think we have we included a letter of communication with those charged with governance, and I think that other than that, that's the information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for tonight concerning the audit? What is the pleasure of the body?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on item number 10. Any further discussion?
And if we have any further questions, we can reach out and talk to.
Oh, of course. I do have Dennis have my email and our information available, so we will be glad to either go over, have a phone call to go over any further discussions or questions, as well as our respond over emails as needed. So.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, ma'am. Further discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, the item passes. Item number 11.
Consider approval of ordinance number 4162A, amending the City of Muskogee Code of Ordinances, Chapter 42, Fire Prevention and Protection, Article 3, Fire Services, by adding Section 42-53, Special Event Fire Apparatus, adding repealer severability, and declaring an emergency, or take other necessary action.
Chief Moore.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Muskogee Fire Department frequently receives requests regarding fire and emergency services at private events. As a result of the frequency, we're requesting an amendment to the Fire Prevention and Protection Ordinance to allow the City of Muskogee Fire Department to create a charge for services outlined in your packet as the amendment has been written. And we do recommend approval.
Thank you, Chief Moore. Do we have any questions for item number 11, or what's the pleasure of the body?
Move for approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes. Do we have a motion to declare an emergency?
Move for approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second to declare an emergency. Further discussion on the emergency. Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, the item passes. Item number 12.
Consider approval of resolution number 2905, approving the City of Muskogee budget for fiscal year 2022-2023, establishing budget amendment authority, or take other necessary action.
Ms. Sweezy.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight is the last step of our approval process for the annual budget preparation. So upon approval, we will be ready to transmit the budget to the state as required. We have made a few adjustments since last Monday night, which were outlined on Thursday's transmission by email to you. All of those are loaded to the new copy online, as well as the packets you received Thursday. One of them was the additional funding to MLK for the additional $25,000 in the operating funds, and a few other corrections and adjustments to the special project fund. Staff recommends approval. We are happy to answer any other questions or discussion.
Do we have any questions? Thank you, Ms. Sweezy. Comments for Ms. Sweezy concerning item number 12?
I know it was brought up about increasing the Roxy fund. Did we have any other discussion on that?
I didn't receive any comments prior to today.
Any other questions for Ms. Sweezy on tonight?
I know we got to get this budget Mr. Mayor, may I be recognized?
Yes, ma'am.
I know we have to get this approved so they can get to the state, but we are able to go back and do some amendments, correct? Thank you.
Yes, and let me remind the body and the council that the budget from year to year is a living document. The council has the authority to make recommendations for amendments to the budget as we move forward throughout the fiscal year.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Further discussion? Or what's the pleasure of the body?
I move to approve this year's budget.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the budget. Any further discussions? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery,
Yes.
Tracy Hoos,
Yes.
Tracy McGee,
Yes.
Stephanie Jones,
Yes.
Alex Reynolds,
Yes.
Jamie Stout,
Yes.
Ivory Van,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed,
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, item number 12 passes. Item number 13.
Consider approval of resolution number 2903, declaring a parcel of property more particularly described in the resolution as surplus to the needs of the city, and authorize the conveyance of said property or take other necessary action.
Jessica, pronounce your last name so I don't mess it up going forward.
It's Swartz.
Swartz. Thank you. Ms. Swartz.
Mayor, members of council, this is a request from Gail Harris for the property located just to the south of 1605 Wewoka Street. Ms. Harris does own the abutting property on the east and the west side of this property. This property is not considered a buildable lot, so she will expand her lots to make buildable lots. The staff recommends approval.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for Ms. Swartz?
Move for approval? Second.
We have a motion and a second on that item. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery,
Yes.
Tracy Hoos,
Yes.
Tracy McGee,
Yes.
Stephanie Jones,
Yes.
Alex Reynolds,
Yes.
Jamie Stout,
Yes.
Ivory Van,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed,
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, that item passes. Item number 14.
Consider approval of resolution number 2904, declaring a parcel of property more particularly described in the resolution as a surplus to the needs of the city, and authorize the conveyance of said property or take other necessary action.
Ms. Swartz.
The city received a request from Living Gospel Christian Fellowship by Robin McQuay for 3 parcels of city property located right next to their property. They do own all abutting property. This property is in excess of 7,200 square feet, so we did have to go through the bidding process. We posted the property. The city received 1 bid from the church, and we recommend approval.
Thank you, Ms. Swartz. Do we have any questions, or what is the will of the body?
Move for approval?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on item number 14. Further discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery,
Yes.
Tracy Hoos,
Yes.
Tracy McGee,
Yes.
Stephanie Jones,
Yes.
Alex Reynolds,
Yes.
Jamie Stout,
Yes.
Ivory Van,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed,
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, the item passes. Item number 15.
Consider approval of a cooperative agreement between the City of Muskogee and Muskogee County Public Transit Authority to provide public transportation services within the City of Muskogee or take other necessary action.
Mr. Tucker.
Mayor, members of the council, this is an annual renewal of our contract with the Transit Authority. Every year, the city budgets for and allocates through this contract an amount of money for the Transit Authority to operate a fixed route bus service within the city. The amount of this year's contract, which was approved in your budget, is $159,259. Dina Wilson, who is the executive director of Muskogee County Transit, is here and would like to make a presentation to the council. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions, and if not, then I will turn the floor over to Ms. Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Just a brief overview. We currently run a fixed route system in the city. We have 3 buses that run from 9 to 4 Monday through Friday. We also run curb-to-curb services from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday to provide curb pickup for residents as well as the fixed route buses. We also run demand response out in the county outside the city limits, bringing people into Muskogee to do their shopping and medical appointments, etc. All of our routes are ADA compliant and compatible for persons with disabilities and open to the public. We currently provide 24 jobs to members of our community, and we have a staff that does a very good job of caring and interacting with the community. Our fleet at the current time consists of 32 vehicles. We have 4 city buses, 2 Cherokee Nation buses, and 26 ADA compliant accessible vans. You notice that our number of vehicles outweighs our number of employees. That is definitely a deficit that we need to work on. So anything anyone could do to help us with that, we would greatly appreciate it. Like everyone else, we really need employees. We have many partners that we work with: the Department of Transportation, Motive Care or Sooner Ride, City of Muskogee, the County of Muskogee, Cherokee Nation, the Department of Human Services. This year we've cultivated some new partnerships that we're really excited about with Muskogee Tourism, Green Country Health Systems, and St. Francis Health Systems. These are new partnerships for us, and we are excited to grow with them and move forward in providing transportation to meet their needs. And we also partner with Veterans Ride Connect. We've made it through COVID for the most part, and we still have plenty of PPE. We are still using the system that we purchased to spray and disinfect all of our vehicles on a daily basis. The Oklahoma Transit Association worked diligently with the Department of Transportation and provided $5 million to purchase PPE, disinfectant spray machines, etc., for all the transits in the state, and it has been invaluable in enabling us to continue through the pandemic to keep our systems clean and disinfected and continue to provide service. We work and develop relationships and partnerships across the city and across the county to keep the riders going where they need to go. We, in the past year, purchased 9 new ADA accessible vans with federal grant dollars. We underwent a rebrand, redid our website, partnered with Muskogee Tourism to provide trolley rides through the Garden of Lights at Honor Heights Park this Christmas. Worked numerous community events and continue to add to those different events. Stayed involved with other agencies and professional groups, continue to search for additional grant dollars and write new grants on a regular basis to bring in new money. We worked on the Connect Muskogee Challenge and with the Connect Muskogee Committee and continue to do that regularly. We work diligently to keep our overtime spending below 4%. That is our one of the best things that we can do at our agency to keep our spending under control. We got a new roof on our building this last July, this past year, at the cost of $234,000. That's been quite a blessing for us. Our ridership is continuing to grow, and as I said earlier, we are continuing to try to fill more driver's positions. We're looking forward to the upcoming year to provide the safest possible service that we can. As we can hire more drivers, we will continue to increase our services. It is a hope to continue to grow, and as we grow, we will do more to think outside the box and provide evening and weekend services and work with employers further to try to do better at being able to help get their employees to work We have been working on that, and part of our ridership increase has been working with Daltile and a couple of other employers to get their employees to work, and we are moving forward with that and growing successfully with that. We attended several nonprofit events, Flavors of Oklahoma, Wish Foundation. We work with Neighbors Building Neighborhoods on a regular basis. Some of the things you're going to see from us in the future, we're going to continue to work on the transit sideways, trails, and bikeways with Connect Muskogee. Expand our fixed route services and increase our accessibility to jobs and destinations, including longer service hours and more bus stops. As I said, we have the vehicles to do these things. We need the employees. That's the only thing stopping us currently. We are ready with plans to move forward as soon as we can hire the people we need to do so. We're planning to improve our curb-to-curb and demand response. We have begun doing same-day service. It has been very helpful for many of the citizens of Muskogee to not have to call 24 hours in advance to plan their trips, and to be able to call that same day and get a vehicle to come and get them to where they need to go. We will be implementing a very necessary fare increase effective July the 5th. This is not something we wanted to do, but with the price of gas and tires and vehicle maintenance, we didn't have a lot of choice. So our board voted at the last monthly Board of Trustee meeting to do a fare increase, and we have put the notifications out to the public that this will be coming. We are working on upgrading our facilities with better technology, working with the county to improve and upgrade our radio systems, waiting to hear from the City of Muskogee Foundation about a grant that's been written to provide new technology for scheduling software to make the drivers that we currently have more efficient. We want to improve access to our major employers by doing all of these things, and we also are working on developing and implementing a program to educate the public to the services that we offer. We are going to continue to advocate for transit equity. That will be part of the education process. Finding ways to promote transit as an economic development vehicle. The following two things you have are some ridership statistics and riderships in a pie and in a graph, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Do we have any questions for Ms. Wilson on tonight?
May I be recognized, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
What was the increase? What would the increase be?
We will be going from $1 to $2 on our fixed route fares and from $2 to $4 on our curb-to-curb fares.
And you did say you guys are doing more of the same day?
We are. We implemented the same-day service approximately 4 months ago, and we have a designated driver that is what she does from 10 to 5. Is the same-day services.
Thank you.
Ms. Wilson, I'm going to ask Mr. Tucker to put you in contact with Darla Heller, who's our workforce coordinator through the county, Muskogee County Port Authority. She certainly has some resources that could be helpful to you in terms of trying to attract more drivers, because I think that the plans you have are great. And certainly we want to help any way we can to be certain that we give you the tools you need to help get more drivers to accomplish your goals.
Greatly appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Any other questions for Ms. Wilson?
Mr. Mayor, may we recognize?
Yes, Mr. Van.
Yes, Ms. Wilson. Last time I was out to the transit meeting, and y'all had the gentleman out of Texas, I believe, the software gentleman.
Yes.
Have y'all chosen a software for the drivers yet?
We have not made 100% decision as of yet, no. We will have to put out an RFP once we know whether we have the grant, that we have the grant dollars to pay for it, and that will be the biggest part of our decision-making process, is what comes from the RFP.
Okay. And also, if I remember right, does the bus stop at Arnold's Fruit Market?
It
Right
does
in-
not.
It doesn't?
It does not.
It goes by there?
Its closest stop to that is Walmart.
Oh, because I know out towards North 17th Street, there's some older people out there, and they have to walk all the way to Walmart, and I was just wondering, is the bus service out that way on North 17th by Boulevard Christian Church?
From Arnold's to
They live up,
Social Security is the closest stop on the west side, and Walmart is the closest stop on the east side.
so the closest stop is Arnold's? I mean,
No, they don't
They don't
stop at
stop.
Arnold.
okay.
No,
But you
they
don't have
stop
any-
at Social Security and Walmart.
Oh, okay, and that's the closest,
Those are the closest two at this current time, yes.
okay. I just, like I said, I gave a gentleman a ride the other day, and he was at Walmart, and I was at Walmart, and matter of fact, he goes to my church. And I was just curious, I said, I knew we had this meeting, but I was just curious if you had some kind of service that goes out that way, because he lives on past Boulevard Christian Church going back north, and there's quite a few people in that community out that way.
If he's in the city limits, the curb-to-curb service and same-day service is available if you ask them to give us a call.
I'll tell him about that, because
Thank you.
I forgot about that program. I turn the floor back over to Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Van, you may want to also have that conversation with Doug Walton, because he helps to lead that committee that talks about routes in terms of getting to grocery stores. And since Arnold's is a fresh market store, that may be a good conversation to have with him, because Ms. Wilson's also on that same committee, and that committee can make that recommendation. Because I think that makes sense. Arnold's would be a logical stop because of the work that they've done in terms of getting people to grocery stores.
Because I thought
Pre-pandemic, it was a stop.
okay, I knew I saw it.
And when the routes were revamped based upon ridership numbers, and we took the time during the pandemic when ridership was way down to go back through all of our statistics, stop by stop, and evaluate where the riders were being picked up, et cetera. Based upon ridership from Arnold's stop, we took it off of the route because we did not have enough people being picked up and dropped off there.
Okay. I have one more question. I'll be through. Now, is y'all staying open longer? You said you closed at 4 o'clock, right? Correct?
Our routes are
Routes.
curb to curb, fixed routes stop at 4, yes. Curb to curb runs from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Because I know in Muskogee, we need something that stays open. I mean,
Yes.
people getting off work, and would that be because you don't have enough drivers?
Right now, yes, it is.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So we definitely need that.
We struggle to staff what we have on a daily basis now.
I understand. Thank you. Turn the floor back over to Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir, Mr. Van. Any other questions for Ms. Wilson on tonight? Mr. Tucker, do we need a motion to approve the agreement?
Yes, Mayor, we do.
Any further discussion, or what's the pleasure of the body?
Move for approval?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on item number 15. Further discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, the item passes. Item number 16.
Discuss and take action to fund and implement plans for stormwater mitigation, including but not limited to drainage issues within the city of Muskogee.
Council, this is my agenda item. I've had conversations with Public Works Director Mike Stewart, as well as the interim city manager, Ms. Sweezy. And what I'm asking for is for us to give direction to staff to appropriate additional resources to assist with the drainage cleanup that's actually going on as we speak. We have a contract with Cook Construction, who does a lot to try to help the city to get caught up. But if you notice what's been going on the last several rains, we've had flooding that we haven't seen in a long, long time. And so what I'm asking for tonight is for the council to support in giving direction to staff to identify additional funds, either through the stormwater fund that we already have or other resources at our disposal, so that we may make additional provisions to assist. Cook Construction or any one contractor can only go so far, but we need resources to be able to do everything else that needs to be done. And so, Mr. Tucker, I'll take questions first before I make my motion, but my motion will be along those lines, that we give direction to staff to identify what those funds need to be.
I think that's an important piece that we need to get addressed and get some resolution to.
Any questions on that item?
Mr. Mayor, may I be recognized?
Yes, Mr. Van.
The other day, and I'd like to thank Mr. Mike Stewart. I went on a ride with him. Me and Mike, we've gone on quite a few rides, just like me and Mr. Miller did. And this particular ride, was a very, very interesting ride. We went on looking at different projects in our different wards and towards the drainage. Seen a lot of stuff, and I wouldn't have seen it if I hadn't been with Mike. And one of the amazing things to me was we went down this one street, and this seemed like it was a house, and here's a driveway. And it was in Janie's ward. Seemed like this big sunk hole, the earth just opened up and the car fell through it. I wish I'd took a picture of it. I mean, it was amazing to me. You remember what street that was, Mike? Mana. And then the next amazing thing was, to me, we went out on a drainage ditch, and I call this I'm always talking about it on the hikes, Bentley. Boy, this was a Bentley drainage ditch. What was that at, Mike?
That was over off David Lane in Elliott where the detention pond is.
Well, that right there, and whoever who put that in, they done a great, great job. You know, I wasn't trying to investigate in your ward, Janie, but I was just riding with Mike. And one more thing. He took me to this gentleman's house, and when I looked, I mean, I'm telling you, I forgot the gentleman's name, but I'm going back to his house. It was really, really nice by that basin. This man, I told Mike, this man, when I said a craftsman, he made metal, he laid rock. His home was so beautiful. And it's just like, I mean, everything. He took us inside his house. And one of the most amazing things, I hope he don't mind me saying, you think I ought to say this, Mike, or I won't. Okay? This gentleman, I'm telling you, his craftsmanship of his work, the things he made in his house and outside his house. But when he went in his house, he's 80 years old, and I forgot the gentleman's name. And I hope he's watching tonight, because I was very impressed with him. He already has built his casket, and it was laying in his bedroom he said he got this piece of wood, redwood, from Outer Heights Park. And when he opened that box up, beautiful. The way he built that casket, and it had stands on it. Remember, he's a welder, like I say, he does it all. Yeah. That was the most beautiful thing I ever seen. I mean, it was just amazing. And he had a big old bike outside. There's so many things, I can't even name them, but I just took pictures of them. So like I say, Mike, I just wanted to thank you for taking me around and showing me. Also, we go out and look at different things like the motels and showing me the drainage systems. It pays to know, if you're going to talk up here, you got to know something about what you're talking about. And I like to go out and look at things so I can learn, because I don't know it all. I don't pretend to know it all. But I just want to thank you, Mike, for all you do for the city of Muskogee. I know you've been with us a long time, and you probably, like I say, you don't get the prompts that you need to get. But I'm very impressed with you, because, like I say, every time I go with you, I learn something. I'll turn the floor back over to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Van. Mr. Tucker, members of the council, I need direction on my motion, only because I'm wondering, should we set a limit above the city manager's threshold, so in the event that they can find the contractual services that they need, they can execute, because we don't always have 7 days between floods to make a quick decision about what needs to be done.
So, Roy, may I ask a question? So we're still under that emergency that we declared for that flooding event. So a lot of these corrective actions that we're taking on the results of that flood are under that emergency that the council approved. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure that spending limit is in question for that event.
But does that even include the recent flooding that we had as well?
Yes.
Yeah, or anything that might come up in the future?
Because the same area is flooded, it would still go back to the big one that we had that we declared the emergency.
I had a question here. On our stormwater, we do have a fund for that, right? What is that?
Yes.
Is that healthy fund? Would Tammy know that? Who know? Mike?
So that fund generates about 1.1 million, and I'm pulling that out of memory, but it's probably very close still.
Okay.
600,000 of that is in dedicated debt service, which is paying for that big pond that you looked at, and another one that's over behind McDonald's. We spend half of that remaining on personnel services. So we operate on about 400,000 or 500,000 a year. We do have some surplus money from the detention basins, which I'm currently trying to use for these repairs that we just made, and hopefully we'll get FEMA reimbursement. That is one of the funds that I think in the future we need to look at increasing, but that's a discussion for another day.
Okay.
This topic would probably be a good council lunch topic the next time we schedule one, to talk about updates to our drainage plan, long-term and short-term funding and projects.
And stormwater. Thank you, Mike.
So what's the pleasure of the council? Do we want to move forward? Do we want to have the communication visits so that we can identify an actual amount? What's the pleasure of the council? We'll take whatever direction you give.
I say we go ahead and move forward and then, or whatever.
So do you want to direct staff to identify the amount of funding needed first and then bring it back for appropriation, or identify and appropriate?
I think the identification of the amount is suitable,
Okay.
and then we'll approve it.
So I think in that case, Mayor, then maybe an appropriate motion would be to direct staff to identify funding to conduct an enhanced drainage maintenance program within the city in an effort to promote a short-term solution to drainage issues within the city.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on item number 16. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes. The item passes. Item number 17.
Consider approval of an agreement between the City of Muskogee and Bear Down Pro Rodeo LLC to produce a rodeo in celebration of the 150th anniversary of the City of Muskogee at the Hatbox Complex on July 1 and 2, 2022, or take other necessary action.
Ms. Sweezy.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an exciting event. The 150th Celebration Committee has been working on this year to bring a free event to the city, and a rodeo production company was selected. The contract was amended after posting to clarify the language of the type of rodeo. He will be providing the language is an ACRA and IPRA rodeo. So I would request it be approved as amended when the vote is done. And Jamie may have some comments on the festivities and the fireworks, and you
Yes.
want to invite the public?
Yes, it's going to be a fun evening on that Friday and Saturday there before the 4th. With each night after the rodeo's completed, there will be a fireworks show. So we invite everybody to come out and enjoy the festivities.
What is the ACRA rodeo?
It's just the brand, the style of rodeo that they can compete in to earn points for their competitions.
Thank you.
I move for approval.
We have a motion on item number 17. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion?
What does that cost?
The total cost is $49,700.
Thank you.
Is this currently being promoted?
Yes.
Is that the flyer that I'm seeing for the rodeo?
Yes. And then it'll start being on radio and stuff next week.
Any other discussion? Let me take this time and I'll also thank the committee publicly for their works. It's a monumental effort to recognize Muskogee the way it deserves to be recognized in its 150th year. And certainly we thank God for the works of that committee. Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, the item passes. Item number 18.
Discuss and take action to develop a plan for enticing economic development in the southwest quadrant of the city.
This is an agenda item I was asked to co-sponsor with Deputy Mayor Derek Reed. After visiting with him and his conversation, I felt his heart and his concern, and certainly let me say before I make my preliminary comments, before I turn the floor over to him, that I absolutely am grateful for the work that he and Councilor Van do to be certain that we don't have any section of the city that is overlooked in any way, shape, or form. When we think about our southwest quadrant of the city, that quadrant abuts directly to the northwest quadrant of the city where most of our retail economic development takes place. And we want to be certain going forward that as we develop the northwest quadrant of the city in terms of retail, that our activities run parallel to its contiguous areas, particularly drawing a line to the residents impacted the most, who are in the most need in terms of services, which mostly are along the southwest and southeast quadrants of our city. Those residents live in our city, they participate in our city, they pay taxes in our city, but we want to be certain that we move forward with identifying the areas of improvement that need to be made in those areas, such as, particularly on the southwest side, grocery stores. Many of the residents in that section of the town have to depend on gas stations to be their grocery stores. And many of them do not have access to immediate gas stations in their vicinity. They have to walk or depend on rides. And everyone cannot afford to use Instacart, DoorDash, or the other delivery services. And so Councilor Reed has recommendations and conversations to support the work that he and Councilor Van, along with others, have done to be certain that we have a plan to entice economic development into that area, which includes observing and monitoring those areas that are blight, that could be converted similar to what we did with the urban renewal area in the northwest quadrant of the town. And so with that having been said, I will turn this over to Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Thank you, Mayor. I think you pretty much summed it up real well. I guess the folks on the south side would say amen for your comments concerning that this area. But on a serious note, I want us to, this is an old conversation. We talked last year and we discussed appropriating money for enticement to get businesses to come to that area. And so when we get calls, myself and Ivory Van gets calls about nothing being done on the south side of the city, I got to admit, first of all, we don't have no magic or no money. No magic or no money. And anytime you have development, you have to have investors that are willing to come and take a risk in investing in those areas. And so we need help. We need help. Last year, we said that we would entice some money into the, put some money into the Economic Development Fund to get businesses to go there. But I want us to take a more aggressive approach from council support in heading in that direction. We have two things that's going on. When I discuss the Southwest Quadrant, we are in the midst of a highway project on Highway 69 that will be completed in 2023. How beautiful it will to be to have a nice highway and then to look on the side of the road and there's no stores and no retail stores, no convenience stores, and some of the things that should go along with a new highway. And so that's one area I want us to look at. Another highway, people travel all the time coming from the county areas, coming up Highway 64, coming up Main Street. You go into Main Street, we talk about downtown. Many people travel up Highway 64. Dispensaries are there, but there's no convenience store no more. I have a portion of town on the south side in between that Highway 64 and Highway 69, no gas, no immediate place to go get medicine, no food, no restaurants, no retail. And so that's the look that we want to ask that the city council would take a more aggressive look in this new budget year. I have met with some of our city leaders leading up to this, and so we will be having, for the residents in that area, we will be having some upcoming town hall meetings to go further and discuss the needs that may arise in that area. But what I come to you tonight was, I believe it's probably time that we bring the urban renewal area conversation to the table. We have to entice with something. We have to have some kind of incentives to get people to come there. I know TIFs are a bad word, and so what I'm going to ask tonight is for a motion to consider an approval to refer this matter over to the Urban Renewal Authority with the direction to identify a location or locations within the southwest quadrant of the city for possible blight study and the development of the urban renewal plan. And that, as you can tell, that is a Roy Tucker writing right there. And I appreciate him for that verbiage. But that's what I want to do, is to try to bring the Urban Renewal Authority to the table to help discuss this item, to help us try to get this moving forward. Once again, for the highway that will be completed in 2023, it would be a shame to have a highway and, you know, all the people that come to Hadbox, and we're putting money into Hadbox, and they go to tournaments, and, you know, only 75 people can get in McDonald's and 50 more in Taco Bell. You know, for tournament play, we got to take an aggressive look, you know, of what we have in that area. And so that's my motion and my presentation on that agenda item.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Reed. We have a motion.
A second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on item number 18?
Mr. Mayor, be recognized.
Yes, Mr. Van.
I'd like to thank you, Deputy Mayor, for all your hard work that you do in Ward 3. And thank you for bringing this to our attention, because it's been like this for years. This amazing thing is, what gets me is, when people run for city council, they always want to make all these promises, what they going to do, what they going to do when they get in this seat. They just don't know that it takes money to come to, like Deputy Mayor was saying, investors. I guess they can just pull them out the hat. I don't know, but they can't do that. And I hope we definitely do get something in Ward 3, because we definitely need it. And one thing really, I'm gonna say this. You were talking about the highway. I think we need to go down some of those businesses on 32nd Street and talk to them, because I was in McDonald's, me and my grandson one night, and I walked in McDonald's, and the floor was just nasty. Okay, so I go ask for a manager. They come out, and I told them, I said, when you walk in the door, you see the milk all on the floor. I said, people can fall and trip over it. So I went and sat down with my grandson and ate. Do you think they even attempted to pick up a mop? This is on Highway, this is on 32nd Street, right there on Muskogee and 32nd. Didn't even attempt. I didn't go back the next day, I got busy. But I am going back and say something to them again, because it don't make sense when you walk in these places. Same thing with another restaurant down there. Had fries all on the floor. When you got something like that in an establishment, that establishment needs to be clean. I don't like to eat in nothing nasty. I don't like nothing nasty. Like, y'all talk about my old truck out there, but it ain't nasty. Trust me. Where I live ain't nasty. I just don't like nastiness. But when you go into eating places, you should be going places that are clean and the food is good. So that's just my take on it, and I just hope we get something in Ward 3, because Ward 3 reminds me, you go from North Tulsa to South Tulsa, y'all know this, it's a world of difference. It's like going from night to day. Going from the north side of town to the south side of town is different from night and day. So thank you again, Councilman Reed. Deputy Mayor Reed. I'll turn the floor back over to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Van. We have a motion and a second. Further discussion. Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, the item passes. Item number 19.
Consider approval of the reappointment of Counselor Ivory Van to the Eastern Oklahoma Development District Board to serve a 3-year term beginning July 1, 2022 and expiring on June 30, 2025, or take other necessary action.
Members of the council, this is my appointment, reappointment rather. Counselor Van has been faithful to this EODD board. He communicates whatever information he receives and gleans. He's been a great representative to the city in that capacity, and I recommend that he be reappointed.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion?
I'd like to say this, Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
if I may recognize. This board here, I can honestly say, I really enjoy working with these county and different mayors and county commissioners. They're just a bunch of nice people. They really are, and they get a lot of things done, and a lot of money goes through that organization. I'll turn the floor back over to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Van. We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, the item passes. Item number 20.
Consider the reappointment of Reggie Cotton to the Eastern Oklahoma District Library System Board of Trustees to serve a 3-year term beginning July 1, 2023 and ending June 30, 2026, as recommended by the Board of Trustees, or take other necessary action.
Ms. Sweezy.
Yes, Mayor. Deputy Chief Cotton has expressed his willingness and interest on serving again, and staff recommends approval.
I'm sorry, I need to interrupt. That should be 2022 instead of 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sweezy. Do we have a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on item number 20? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds. Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Marlon Coleman.
Yes, the item passes. Deputy Mayor Derek Reed will preside from this point on. I have a proclamation that I need to present at an event, and at this time I yield the floor to the Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This time we will recognize citizens who are signed up to speak. We have 3 that will come before us on tonight. The first person that will be called will be Dr. Diane Johnston. Dr. Johnston, if you could take the stand, give us your name and address, and you will have 3 minutes to address us.
Mayor and council members, I'm Dr. Diane Johnston. I live at 2822 Irving here in Muskogee, and I'm here mostly for a happy thing. On the 1st of July, I noticed you have a flyer, and it's before Jamie and others will rush out to the rodeo. It'll be a big night for you. But anyway, this is important to us as a community to get behind the effort to save the VA hospital. I'm not here as an employee at the VA. I'm a member of the Chapter 617 of the Military Order of Purple Heart. I did not earn a Purple Heart. My father did in the Oak Leaf Cluster, so that's why I'm an associate member. But they have done a tremendous effort, and so have many members of the business community. You've put out petitions. First, we were trying for 10,000. We have close to or over 15,000 now. People are upset. People want to keep their hospital here from one end of the state to the other. It's real important to show support. And this rally is going to be a concert. It's probably going to be the last one in Muskogee. But we're really working hard at a grassroots level to show that people are concerned, and this decision was, promoted way outside of our area, and we all question it. If you talk to the veterans and families, I've talked to so many, they've moved here because of the VA hospital. It's just heartbreaking. You can barely get away from them. But anyway, it's to thank you, all you business leaders that have put this petition out, churches that have, banks, just individuals, I can't name how many, all across the state, and want to support this effort. Last time we had 300 people here, I was told the Tulsa World counted over 300. I don't know how many will be here this time, but it's really good to show your face to the veterans and the people in the community. And I hope you have a good time and feel proud of the community for stepping forward and doing something like I know a lot of you, like Derek Reed's trying to do for the community. It makes you feel good that people didn't just sit back and say, oh, it's a done deal, because it's not a done deal if you speak up. So thank you. That's all I'm going to say. I hope you can come. It's where the mayor planned it. He didn't plant it at Hatbox. He planted it downtown, so that's why it's there. Jamie, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. The next person to sign up to speak is Marshall Hammonds. Mr. Hammonds, you have 3 minutes. If you could give us your name and address.
Marshall Hammonds, 3401 Canterbury. I'd like to start by thanking the deputy mayor and the council for giving me this time. I'm actually here asking for help from Ward 1. So it kind of happens to be you two people, doesn't it? There is an issue at 204 Anthony. It is my understanding that there are 5 Rottweilers living inside the house that also released to go outside, but I guess spend most of the time indoors. Just in the last couple of weeks, I drove by and there appeared to be 2 or 3 puppies in a cage in the front yard that appeared to be for sale. You can read into that how you want. My concern is that I know that they have been fined. That's the understanding that we have gone out. I've been told that the maximum number of animals is 3. Total animals, that kind of surprised me, but so if there is actually 5, that's exceeding. That the people at that address have been fined, but will no longer come to the door now if they come up again, okay? So, I don't know, that's what I know. My concern is my mother-in-law, and a grandmother of 6, lives next door, has lived there for 50-plus years. She's afraid to go out in her backyard. Don't blame her. I won't go, I've been there, I wouldn't go out there either. They will come to the fence. There is a cyclone fence. It's scary. They're big dogs. They're spooky. Behind Anthony, the property that's vacant behind there sits behind the that strip mall, Chandler Road strip mall. Well, then if you go north behind there, that's just field and stuff. Just last week, 2 of the dogs dug out of the fence, got loose. One of the employees that was trying to leave from the strip mall, I guess out the back door where they park, was scared and ran to her car as the dog started running over there. I'm just concerned for my mother-in-law's safety and for the people that lives in the neighborhood. I would just like to ask if you all could do any further help or at least look into the matter. It would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hammonds. Our final speaker is Pat Cassica. If you could take to the mic at this time, you have 3 minutes. If you can give us your name and address.
Okay, I would like to request 5 minutes.
I'll make a motion to give her 5 minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to give her 5 minutes to present to us. Any discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hoos.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you. First of all, I was glad to hear the good news about this property being used for urban renewal. I think that's a good thing because we need more things like that in Muskogee rather than having all of these dispensaries. And I know you guys are tired of me harping on the same thing, but it's like a fire shut up in my bones. I just can't quit talking about it, and I'm not going to stop talking about it. We should use our farmland and rural areas for growing food. We should support our cattle ranchers and our farmers and our food markets because food is going so high. And you can't eat grass, marijuana. That's not going to keep you alive, but food will. So I'm glad to hear that. The first thing is Ordinance 4154A, and I got this from Roy Tucker, who had the city clerk send me a copy of this. I have been harping on this ordinance because it still does not reassure me that they will not put a dispensary within 300 feet of my home. I do live on Oklahoma Street in the 5000 block area, and my name is Patricia Cassica, in case I didn't say that.
We also need your address for the record, please.
Oh, 5003 Oklahoma.
Thank you.
Okay, so when I read this, there's still no assurances. It's like this became null and void when you had a speaker that came up here regarding a halfway house that was put in his neighborhood without his knowledge or notification. His name was Gregory Fields, and this is just another underhanded, sneaky way that you guys are putting things in our neighborhood that we don't want.
And we keep saying this. And if he would have known that this was coming into his neighborhood, I'm sure he would have contacted the city council representatives in District 4, which is also my district. But how are we to contact you guys when we don't even know these things are being put in our neighborhoods? And so therefore, to me, you might as well just throw that, tear it in half and throw it away, because it doesn't assure anything. So the next thing is Section 3844, where it's talking about property liens. Now, on the city code brochure and on the website and in the letter that you get, because I've seen the letter in small writing, it does say your house will be, a property lien will be put on your house if you do not take care of the expenses that the city has when they come out and have to mow your yard for them. To me, that should not happen to homeowners. Families are struggling to stay together. They cannot afford the apartment rents. They're trying to stay in these old shacks that are falling down, and for them to have a lien on their property, that's just too much pressure. And it causes families to have to move, have to go live with parents or relatives, and that can be stressful. Then I want to talk about the children, the safety of the children, because this does have to do with the marijuana codes and things. There was a Senate bill, 1307, that talked about suicide prevention. Suicide prevention is now number 2 in Oklahoma. In Tulsa last month, they had an article where they mentioned before 2020, there were over 200 children who committed suicide. Before that, it was like 10 to 15 calls, or excuse me, not suicides, but overdoses of this edible marijuana. And I don't know if you heard on the national news, but a girl put some edible marijuana in a bag of Cheetos, took it to school, and 6 or 7 of them ended up in the emergency room. Now, that's not your guys' problem, because that's the parents' problem. But still, yet, you guys are putting too many of these things in our city. So, House Bill 1017 protects children from gender reassignment. Another one, Senate Bill 1367, strengthens penalties for marijuana diversion. In other words, you can lose your license. And the only people that will buy this are kids who can't afford to get a license. So I'm saying it's all about the children. And Jesus said, if any one of you cause my children to stumble, it's better for you to wear a millstone around your neck and go jump in the lake. And that's all I have to say about that. But I will leave you with a prayer that you can copy, and I challenge you to pray this every day over our children. It's called Divine Restraining Order Prayer for your children, and I would include Muskogee in that.
Thank you. That concludes our citizens to speak, so we'll go to item number 21.
It's fine. Consider an executive session to discuss and take possible action on the following. A, pursuant to Section 307B2, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, consider convening an executive session to discuss negotiations with the International Association of Firefighters, Local Number 57, and if necessary, take appropriate action in open session. B, pursuant to Section 307B2, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, consider convening an executive session to discuss negotiations with the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Local Number 2465, and if necessary, take appropriate action in open session. C, pursuant to Section 307B4, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, consider convening an executive session to discuss the workers' compensation claim of Cody Thurman, and if necessary, take appropriate action in open session.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to go into executive session?
Move for approval. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery. Tracy Hoos.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds. Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes. We'll now consider ourselves in executive session. Those who are not on the council, if you could excuse us at this time. Calling the order, returning from executive session. Item number 21.
We need roll call first.
Okay, I'm sorry, roll call.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Jamie Stout.
Here.
Alex Reynolds.
Here.
Stephanie Jones. Here. Tracy McGee.
Here.
Tracy Hous.
Here.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Here.
Item number 21.
Pursuant to Section 307B2, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, the City Council did convene an executive session to discuss ongoing negotiations with the International Association of Firefighters, Local Number 57. After being briefed on the status of negotiations, I believe an appropriate motion would be to approve authorizing an offer, a counteroffer for negotiations for settlement of the 2022 collective bargaining agreement based on the discussion within executive session.
You've been presented that. Do we have a motion?
Move for approval. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes. Next item.
Item 21B, pursuant to Section 307B2, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, the council convened an executive session to discuss ongoing negotiations with the American Federation of State, County, Municipal Employees, Local Number 2465. After being briefed on the status of ongoing negotiations, I believe an appropriate motion would be to approve the conveyance of an offer, counteroffer, to settle the 2022 collective bargaining agreement between the city and AFSCME based on the discussion and direction within executive session.
What is your pleasure?
Move for approval. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes. Item B passes. Item C.
21C, pursuant to Section 307B4, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, the City Council did convene an executive session to discuss the workers' compensation claim of Cody Thurman. Based on the discussion from the city attorney, I think an appropriate motion would be to authorize the city attorney to settle the workers' compensation claim of Cody Thurman within the amounts discussed in executive session.
What's your pleasure?
Move for approval. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Stephanie Jones.
Yes.
Alex Reynolds.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes. Item C passes, and that is our final item. We are adjourned.